Admiral Kim Hana pressed her back against the cold concrete wall of the underground bunker. Above her head, tons of twisted metal and broken glass marked what used to be Seoul. The city where she had grown up was now just another scar on Earth's wounded surface. The holographic display flickered in the dim light, showing red dots moving slowly across Earth's orbit. Council ships, 37 of them, circling like hungry wolves around a dying deer. Their massive hulls blocked out the sun in some places, casting shadows that would last for months. "Sir, they're broadcasting again," Lieutenant Park Ji-ho said quietly. His young face was dirty, streaked with dust and dried blood. He had been working at the communication station for 18 hours straight, but his hands never stopped moving across the controls. The alien voice filled the bunker, speaking in perfect English with that strange musical tone the Council used. "People of Earth, your leaders have surrendered. Your military is destroyed. Your cities are in ruins. Accept your new place in the galaxy. Resistance is pointless." Hana closed her eyes and counted to 10. She had heard this message 47 times in the past 3 days. Each time the aliens sounded more pleased with themselves. Each time they seemed more certain that humanity was finished. "They really believe it, don't they?" Park Ji-ho whispered. "They think we're done." "Good," Hana said. She opened her eyes and looked at the display again. The red dots continued their slow patrol, confident and lazy. Let them believe it. The bombardment had been terrible. Hana had watched from this same bunker as the sky turned white with plasma fire. New York vanished in a flash of light that could be seen from space. Tokyo followed 20 minutes later. London burned for 3 days before the fires finally died out. 100 million people had died in the first hour. The aliens called it a demonstration of overwhelming force. They said it would save lives in the long run. They said humans would understand that fighting was useless. The aliens were wrong. Hana walked to the center of the bunker where a single red button waited under a glass cover. She had been staring at that button for 3 days, waiting for the right moment, the moment when the Council would be completely sure of their victory. "Sir," Park Ji-ho said, reading from his screens, "Council Command is ordering their ships to begin landing operations. They're sending down occupation forces to the major cities, or what's left of them." "Perfect," Hana said. She lifted the glass cover. "They want to get comfortable." Her finger hovered over the button. This was the moment everything would change. The moment the real war would begin. The Council thought they had won, but they had no idea what humans were really capable of. "Activate Protocol, Lazarus," she said, and pressed the button. The bunker's lights changed from red to green. Deep underground, computers came to life. Signals raced through hidden cables and secret satellites. Messages flew across the galaxy at the speed of light, reaching places the Council had never bothered to look. On a mining station near Jupiter, Captain Lee Dongmin was fixing a broken air filter when his watch started beeping. He looked down at the small screen and saw a simple message. The time has come. For 3 years, he had been just another maintenance worker. He wore dirty coveralls and carried a toolbox. He complained about the food and made jokes with his co-workers. Nobody suspected that he had once been the best Special Forces soldier in the Korean military. He set down his tools and walked to his small room. Behind a false wall, he found the equipment he had hidden so carefully: body armor, weapons, explosives, maps of the station showing every weakness, every blind spot, every way to kill everyone on board without being caught. On a farming colony in the Centauri system, Dr. Choi Minjung was teaching children about plant biology when her tablet chimed softly. She glanced at the message and smiled. For 2 years, she had been the colony's beloved teacher. The children loved her. The parents trusted her. The Council administrators thought she was harmless. They had no idea she was one of Earth's top biochemists. They didn't know she had been working on new kinds of weapons, poisons that could kill aliens but leave humans untouched. Tonight, she would test her work. Across the galaxy, in places the Council thought were safe, ordinary people suddenly remembered who they really were. The quiet librarian on Station Alpha 7 had once been a demolitions expert. The friendly cook on the cargo ship Prosperity was actually a master assassin. The helpful translator at Council headquarters had been feeding information to Earth for 5 years. The Council had made a simple mistake. They thought humans were like other species they had conquered. They expected panic, surrender, despair. They thought destroying a few cities would break humanity's spirit. Instead, they had just made humans angry. In the bunker beneath Seoul, Admiral Kim Hana watched green lights appear on her display. Each light was a sleeper agent, a hidden weapon, a surprise the Council would never see coming. "How many responded?" she asked. Park Ji-ho checked his screens. 15,000 agents across 47 systems, all ready for orders. Hana smiled. The Council had won the first battle, but the war was just beginning. Council Commander Veltara's 4 eyes moved back and forth across the reports scattered on his desk. Each paper told the same impossible story: ships disappearing, stations going dark, people dying in accidents that made no sense. His clawed hands picked up the latest report. Supply Convoy 7 had vanished somewhere between Mars and Jupiter. 20 ships, 300 crew members, gone without sending a single distress signal. The search teams found nothing but empty space and silence. "Commander," his aide whispered, clicking his mandibles the way his species did when nervous. "The incidents are happening more often now. Every day we lose something else." Veltara stood up and walked to the large window overlooking Earth. The planet looked peaceful from orbit. The burned cities were healing. New buildings were rising from the ashes. The humans seemed to be accepting their defeat, like good slaves. Should. But the report said something different. In 3 months, the Council had lost 17 supply convoys, 43 stations, and over 2,000 personnel. Every death looked like an accident, equipment failures, system malfunctions. "Bad luck that struck again and again. There are no survivors," the aide continued. "No witnesses, no evidence of attack. It's like the universe itself is working against us." Veltara turned away from the window. His species had conquered 47 different worlds. They knew what rebellion looked like. This was something else entirely. On mining platform Zeta 7, Captain Lee Dongmin walked quietly through the maintenance tunnels. He wore the grey uniform of a repair worker, carried a standard toolbox, and smiled at everyone he met. The Council. Workers liked him. He fixed their problems and never complained about the long hours. They had no idea he was killing them one by one. Today's target was Section C, where 12 alien workers operated the main oxygen recyclers. Lee had spent weeks studying their routines, learning their weaknesses, planning the perfect accident. He entered the control room carrying a small device that looked like a normal repair scanner. The aliens barely looked up from their workstations. They were used to seeing him in their work areas. "Just checking the air filters," he said in the alien language he had learned so well. "Routine maintenance." One of the workers nodded without interest. Lee smiled and plugged his device into the main control panel. To anyone watching, it looked like he was running a normal diagnostic. In reality, he was uploading a virus that would slowly shut down the life support systems. The virus would work over several hours. First, the oxygen levels would drop just a little. The workers would feel tired but not worried. Then the carbon dioxide scrubbers would start failing. By the time anyone realized something was wrong, it would be too late. Lee finished his repairs and left the control room. In 6 hours, 12 more council workers would be dead, victims of another mysterious equipment failure. 3 star systems away, Sergeant Yang Minho crouched in the ventilation shaft above Council Outpost Delta. Below him, alien guards patrolled the corridors with their plasma weapons ready. They were nervous. Good. Nervous enemies make mistakes. Yang had been hiding in this outpost for 2 weeks, living in the spaces between the walls like a rat. He ate food stolen from the kitchens and drank water from the maintenance pipes. The aliens had no idea they were sharing their base with Earth's most dangerous ghost. His team was scattered throughout the outpost. Private Kim Soo-hyun was hiding in the power plant. Corporal Lee Ji-won had taken position in the communications center. Lieutenant Park Hyun-woo was waiting in the weapons storage area. Yang spoke quietly into his throat microphone. "Ghost Team, this is Ghost Leader. Begin operation in 60 seconds. The plan was simple. At exactly 0300 hours, they would strike 4 different targets at the same time. Kim would overload the main power generator. Lee would destroy the communication. Equipment. Park would set off explosives in the weapons storage. Yang would eliminate the command staff. To the surviving aliens, it would look like a series of catastrophic accidents. Equipment failure in the power plant would cause a massive explosion. The communications array would be destroyed by electrical feedback. The weapons storage would explode due to unstable ammunition. The command staff would die when their life support systems failed during the chaos. 30 seconds, Yang whispered. He pulled out a small gas grenade designed to look like an air freshener. When it activated, it would release a poison that only affected alien biology. The human soldiers were immune. 10 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, execute. Yang dropped the grenade through a ventilation grate and watched it roll across the command center floor. The alien officers noticed it, but thought nothing of it. Just another piece of maintenance equipment. The gas was colorless and odorless. The aliens breathed it in without knowing they were dying. Within minutes, they would collapse at their stations, victims of what would look like a sudden illness. All across the outpost, similar scenes played out. Equipment failed. Systems shut down. People died in ways that seemed natural but were anything but. By morning, Outpost Delta would be a tomb, and Yang's team would be ghosts again, vanishing into the space between the stars. Back on his command, Ship Council Commander Veltara received another report. Another outpost lost, another mysterious accident, another day of fighting an enemy he could not see or understand. The humans were supposed to be defeated. Instead, they had become something much worse than rebels. They had become invisible. Dr. Han Yuna wiped sweat from her forehead as she bent over the alien weapon on her workbench. The plasma rifle hummed with deadly energy, its crystal core glowing blue in the dim light of her underground laboratory. Above her head, the ruins of Busan stretched for miles, but down here in the deep tunnels she was building humanity's future. "Computer, analyze the harmonic frequency again," she said to the stolen Council AI system she had reprogrammed. "Frequency remains at 847.3 terahertz, the computer replied in its emotionless voice. "Deviation from standard parameters could cause weapon failure." Yuna laughed. "That's exactly what we want." She had been studying Council weapons for 6 months, ever since her team had captured a supply transport near the asteroid belt. The aliens built everything the same way, perfect, predictable, boring. Their plasma rifles fired at exactly the same frequency every time. Their shields operated on fixed wavelengths. Their armor was designed to stop attacks they expected, but humans were never predictable. Yuna picked up a small crystal and held it up to the light. It looked identical to the one in the Council weapon, but she had grown this one in her own lab. Inside its perfect structure, she had introduced tiny flaws, microscopic cracks that would make the crystal vibrate in chaotic patterns. "Chaos theory," she whispered as she carefully replaced the alien crystal with her own. "Beautiful, wonderful chaos." She stepped back and aimed the modified rifle at a captured Council combat suit hanging from the ceiling. The suit was worth more than most Earth cities, made from materials that could stop a nuclear blast. The Council soldiers who wore them thought they were invincible. They were wrong. Yuna pulled the trigger. Instead of the normal steady beam, the rifle discharged with a sound like cloth being torn apart. The plasma burst twisted and writhed as it struck the combat suit, finding every weakness in its perfect armor. The suit didn't just break, it dissolved, turning to dust that scattered across the laboratory floor. "Perfect," Yuna said, setting down the weapon. "Chaos beats perfection. Every time." 300 light-years away, Major Kang Jinwoo watched through his binoculars as Council guards patrolled the supply depot on Kepler 442b. 47 guards, all armed with the latest weapons. 200 containers of supplies, enough to feed a Council army for a month. "How many guards did you count?" he whispered to Sergeant Kim Tae-hyung, who was lying in the grass beside him. 47, sir, same as yesterday." Kang smiled. The aliens were so predictable, same patrol routes, same guard posts, same timing. They followed their manuals like robots, never adapting, never changing. "Signal the others," he ordered. "We attack in 10 minutes. His team of 20 fighters spread out around the depot, moving like shadows through the alien landscape. They carried weapons that looked like standard Council equipment, But Dr. Han Yuna had modified every single one. The plasma rifles would cut through Council armor like paper. The grenades would create chaos waves that would scramble alien electronics. The Council expected humans to fight like humans. Instead, they would fight like nightmares. At exactly 0400 hours, Kang's team struck. The modified weapons created light shows that danced across the depot like deadly rainbows. Council guards fired back, but their shots went wild as their targeting systems failed. Their perfect armor cracked and shattered under the chaotic plasma bursts. In 15 minutes, the battle was over. 47 Council guards lay dead, and 200 containers of supplies were now in human hands. More importantly, the humans had learned new things about alien tactics, weaknesses they could exploit in the next battle. Back on Earth, Lieutenant Colonel Park Soo-young sat in her command bunker, watching data streams from across the galaxy. Her network of spies and informants fed her information 24 hours a day. She knew where Council fleets were moving before their own commanders did. "Ma'am," reported Captain Lee Minho, "we're getting signals from the Vega system. The Council is moving 3 battle groups toward the human colony there." Park nodded and turned to her communications officer. "Send a message to Colonel Yang's team. Tell them to hit the fuel depot at coordinates 445.7 by 882.3. If the Council wants to move their fleets, they'll need fuel." The message was encoded in quantum encryption and sent through hidden relay stations. It would reach Colonel Yang in 12 hours, giving him time to prepare. By the time the Council fleets reached the fuel depot, there would be nothing left but wreckage. This was the new kind of war. Not armies fighting armies, but shadows fighting light. The Council had rules, procedures, chains of command. Orders had to be approved by committees, then sent through proper channels, then confirmed by higher authorities. A simple decision could take days. Human commanders made decisions in seconds. A scout spotted enemy movement, radioed the information, and strikes were launched before the aliens knew they had been seen. The Council's perfect military machine was too slow, too rigid, too predictable. In her laboratory, Dr. Han Yuna worked on her next project, a virus that would turn the Council's own communication systems against them. Soon, every alien computer would be a potential weapon in human hands. The underground war was spreading, and humanity was winning one ghost at a time. General Im Tae-hyung stared at the holographic map floating in front of him, his eyes tracing the blue lights that marked human victories across the galaxy. 6 months ago, there had been no blue lights at all. Earth was burning, humanity was defeated, and the Council ruled everything. Now 43 star systems glowed blue. 43 victories that the aliens never saw coming. "Sir," Colonel Bei Jihe said, walking up to him with a tablet in her hands, "we just received confirmation from the Vega system. Admiral Song Hyunwoo's fleet has taken control of all orbital stations. No Council survivors." Tae-hyung nodded, but his face showed no emotion. Each victory was important, but the real war was just beginning. The Council still controlled thousands of systems. They still had millions of ships and billions of soldiers. But for the first time since the invasion, humanity was winning. "What about casualties?" he asked. 7 dead, 19 wounded, Bei replied. "The Council garrison surrendered after we disabled their command ship. They thought we were pirates, until it was too late." That was the key to everything. The Council still believed Earth was defeated. They thought the attacks were random terrorism, desperate acts by scattered survivors. They had no idea they were fighting an organized military force that had been planning this war for decades. The holographic map changed, showing troop movements across the galaxy. Red dots represented Council forces. Blue dots were human. The red dots were moving in the wrong directions, chasing ghosts while human fleets struck undefended targets. "How are they still so blind?" Bei asked, watching Council ships waste time, searching empty systems. "Because we're feeding them lies," Tae-hyung said with a cold smile, "and they believe every word." 2,000 light-years away, Captain Nam Ji-won sat in the computer center of Council High Command, wearing the uniform of a maintenance technician. For 8 months, she had been just another worker fixing broken equipment and updating software. The alien officers barely noticed her existence. They had no idea she was rewriting their entire military strategy. Her fingers moved quickly across the alien keyboard, making small changes to the strategic planning computer. A decimal point moved here, a coordinate changed there, a supply route redirected to the wrong destination. Nothing obvious, nothing that would trigger security alerts. But the results were devastating. Council fleets received orders to attack systems that had already been evacuated. Supply convoys were sent to bases that no longer existed. Intelligence reports painted pictures of human weakness where there was actually strength. Technician Nam called Commander Zekthara from across the room. "How long until the system update is complete?" "Just a few more minutes, sir," she replied, in perfect alien language. "I'm installing the new security patches now." The security patches were actually viruses designed by Earth's best programmers. Once installed, they would give human commanders access to every council communication, every battle plan, every troop movement. The aliens would be fighting blind while humans could see everything. Nam finished her work and closed the computer panel. "All done, sir. The system is running perfectly now." Zekthara nodded without looking up from his reports. He was studying intelligence about human terrorist attacks, trying to find patterns that didn't exist. The Council's best minds were wasting time on puzzles that had no solutions. Meanwhile, on the Council homeworld, Engineer Lim Minsu was ending his 5-year mission in the most spectacular way possible. He had spent half a decade building the aliens' trust, becoming their most valued human employee. They had given him access to everything: power grids, defense systems, communication networks. Tonight, he would use that access to destroy them all. Minsu sat in the control room of the Planetary Defense Center, surrounded by alien technicians who considered him a friend. They had worked together for years, shared meals, talked about their families. Some of them had even invited him to their homes. He felt no guilt about what he was about to do. These aliens had burned Earth cities and killed millions of humans. They deserved what was coming. "Initiating routine system diagnostic," he announced, typing commands into his console. The other technicians paid no attention. Minsu ran diagnostics every week, but this diagnostic was different. Hidden in the code were instructions that would turn the planet's defense grid into a weapon aimed at the surface. The orbital weapons platforms that protected the Council homeworld would instead bombard their own cities. "Diagnostic complete," Minsu said after 20 minutes of careful work. All systems operating normally. The changes wouldn't activate for another 6 hours, giving him time to reach the evacuation point. By dawn, the Council homeworld would be burning. Its government centers destroyed by their own weapons. The alien leadership would be dead, killed by the defenses they trusted. Back in his command bunker, General Im Tai-hyung watched as new blue lights appeared on the holographic map. The Rigel system had fallen to Colonel Park's forces. The Altair colonies had surrendered to Captain Kim's fleet. The Procyon stations were under human control. The tide was turning. The Council's perfect empire was cracking like ice in the spring, and they still didn't understand what was happening to them. "Sir," Baiji here said, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth. Admiral Kim Hana wants to speak with you." Tai-hyung smiled. It was time for the final phase of humanity's impossible war. Admiral Kim Hana stood on the bridge of the massive warship Indomitable, watching hundreds of human vessels emerge from hyperspace around the Council's home system. The ship beneath her feet had once belonged to the aliens, captured in battle and turned into humanity's flagship. Now it would help deliver the final blow to the empire that thought it had conquered Earth. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said Commander Park Ji-hoon from his station. "We have 347 vessels in attack formation." Hana nodded and opened the fleet communication channel. Her voice would reach every human ship in the system, every soldier who had fought in the shadows for the past year, every person who had refused to accept defeat. "All units, this is Admiral Kim Hana," she broadcast. "Today we finish what they started. Today we show them what happens when you try to break humanity." The Council's home fleet was already moving to intercept them, but their ships moved slowly, confused by the false sensor data that Engineer Lim Minsu had planted in their systems. The alien commanders thought they were facing a small raiding force, not the entire human battle fleet. "Enemy ships approaching," reported Lieutenant Lee. "Sao Jin, count is... wait, that can't be right. Their sensors show only 30 human ships." Hana smiled. The Council was seeing what humans wanted them to see. Their perfect technology had been turned against them by the very people they had tried to destroy. "Fire when ready," she ordered. The Indomitable's main guns opened up with weapons that Dr. Han Yuna had redesigned from captured Council technology. The plasma beams twisted and danced as they struck the alien ships, cutting through their shields like they were made of paper. Explosions lit up the darkness of space as Council vessels died one by one. But the real battle was happening inside the Council command centers, where Commander Oh Sungmin and his special forces had been waiting for this moment. Oh materialized in the middle of the Council High Command Center, using the aliens' own teleportation technology to appear behind their defensive lines. The alien. Officers turned in shock, reaching for their weapons, but it was already too late. "Surrender now and you will live," Oh said in perfect alien language. "Fight us and you will die like your fleet." The Council's Supreme Commander, a massive creature with 6 arms and glowing red eyes, hissed in rage. "Impossible! You are defeated! Your world burns!" "Our world heals," Oh replied, raising his modified plasma rifle. "Your empire dies." The battle inside the command center lasted only minutes. The Council officers had spent their lives giving orders from safe rooms, never expecting to fight with their own hands. Oh's soldiers had been preparing for this moment for years, trained to fight in the enemy's own strongholds. When the shooting stopped, the Council's military leadership was dead or captured, and human soldiers controlled the nerve center of the alien empire. Meanwhile, Captain Lee Dongmin was completing his own mission on the orbital defense platforms that protected the Council homeworld. He had spent the past week disguised as a maintenance worker, placing explosives in key locations throughout the massive stations. "Ghost leader to Ghost team," he whispered into his communicator. "Detonate charges in 30 seconds. The orbital platforms that had once seemed unbreakable began exploding from within. Power cores overloaded. Weapon systems failed. Life support shut down. The aliens had built these stations to be perfect, but perfection was brittle. One small flaw could bring down the entire structure. As the platforms died, their debris rained down on the Council homeworld like falling stars. The aliens below looked up at the sky and finally understood what was happening. The humans they had dismissed as primitive terrorists were destroying their entire civilization. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Admiral Hana watched the battle unfold on dozens of screens. Human ships were winning everywhere. The Council fleet was broken, their command structure destroyed, their defenses in ruins. "Admiral," reported Commander Park, "we're receiving a transmission from the Council homeworld. They want to discuss terms." "Put them through," Hana said. The alien voice that came through the speakers was different from the confident broadcast they had made months ago. This voice was broken, desperate, afraid. "Human fleet, this is Emergency Commander Velcast of the Council Defense Force. We request an immediate ceasefire. We are prepared to discuss surrender terms." Hana looked around her bridge at the human officers who had fought so hard to reach this moment. They had started this war as the defeated species, scattered and broken. Now they were the conquerors, standing in the ruins of the empire that had tried to destroy them. "Council Defense Force," she replied. "This is Admiral Kim Hana of the Human Liberation Fleet. We accept your surrender. Your terms are simple. Complete and unconditional surrender. Withdraw all Council forces from human space immediately. Release all human prisoners. Turn over your military leaders for trial." She paused, remembering the words the aliens had used when they thought they had won. "Resistance is pointless," she added. The alien commander's response was barely a whisper. We accept your terms." Hana closed the communication channel and looked out at the stars. Earth was still healing from its wounds, but humanity had proven something important. They could be hurt, they could be knocked down, but they would never stay down. The Council had made one fatal mistake. They thought humans would break like every other species they had conquered. Instead, they had learned that humans only grow stronger when they are pushed to the edge. The war was over. Humanity had won,